In today's episode of the Neil Wilkins Podcast, I'm joined by McHugh, who is the Chief Growth Officer and actually the founder of ShopX. And we're going to be talking in a lot of detail about Web3, NFTs, future of marketing, communications, and actually really looking to leverage future technologies within business. So I'm very keen to get into this because I'm hoping I'm going to learn as much as you are listening and watching this podcast episode. So welcome to the show, Eric.
Well, thank you so much, Neil. I'm really excited to be here.
This is for a lot of people, I think, almost kind of new stuff. I mean, I always get really excited when we start talking Web3 and some of the kind of emerging technologies, I guess we could call them. For a lot of people, though, it's quite daunting. It's quite kind of scary world because it's, they're still trying to get their head around, social media and how you can leverage that, let alone actually be looking into the kind of the future and emerging technologies. So I'm really keen to kind of understand your mindset and really what's kind of taken you in this direction. I mean, for anybody who doesn't know, Eric, I mean, do you want to give us a little bit of a backstory, a little bit of a flavor of kind of what has brought you into this industry and your journey to this point?
Sure. I mean, to be honest, I like to call it fate, but nice to meet everyone. My name is Eric. I'm 30 years old. I'm blessed to be living in beautiful Southern California right now. My main hobbies include chess, Muay Thai, meditation, pretty much anything under the sun. I went to school at the University of California, Irvine, where I was fortunate to intern abroad in Barcelona as a project manager. That was cool, just learning how new cultures blend together and just that whole work lifestyle, as well as a government affairs consulting intern at Washington, D.C., which has its ups and downs. Right out of college, my first, I guess, full-time job was at Snap Inc. If you don't know where they're located in Venice Beach, and the two main reasons and that was helping create their ad algorithm to make that app as sticky as possible. The two main reasons I chose that position particularly is in Venice Beach, their campus structure is really cool. So what they did is they bought a bunch of different houses versus one big building, and they had different work pods. So you'd go around different houses, work with different team members, which is a very cool experience. And the other main reason I chose that position was it was a month before their IPO. So I just kind of want to see what it's like going through a company when they're going IPO stage. I felt like in startup land, that's really important. After that, I thought it was about time to get a full 9-to-5 job. I guess your typical college route. So I became a bankruptcy consultant. What that is, it's when a Fortune 500 company goes bankrupt, like in the crypto space, think of like FTX or BlockFi, any of those cats. But in the Web2 space, we had major clients like Rue21 or Washington Mutual. When a company like that goes bankrupt, there's a lot of debt that they don't know where it needs to go, and they need people to help allocate the debt correctly. So that's where the bankruptcy consultancy firm comes in. They come in, they work with lawyers, they work with the court. They're like a three-headed dragon to help divide up the debt. And at that point, I was really diving in the cryptocurrency rabbit hole. So as a bankruptcy consultant, I was helping divide up debt, but simultaneously, me and my two other friends, one ended up at Coinbase, one ended up at Kraken, one ended up starting his own thing. We were researching Bitcoin nonstop, 24 hours, 8 days a week, and that's where our mindset was. We'd have a group chat where people would send texts like, "Hey, check out this text, check out this podcast, check out this information," just as a way to share information amongst us. We'd also have sat-offs for someone to buy like $500 of Bitcoin. I was like, oh, this person can't beat me. I'll buy 600, and we'd send screenshots that way. So as a bankruptcy consultant, the firm was fantastic. The work was cool. Honestly, in terms of consultancy firms, this was a cool place. I liked it a lot. Like, it wasn't your typical firm where it's like a suit and tie, show up every day. I mean, if you're talking with a client, you probably should dress up a bit just because of the whole lawyer aspect. But this firm had like a ping pong table, a nap room. It was relatively relaxed compared to consulting firms. The only problem I saw in hindsight was it would incentivize rent-seeking behavior, which is the opposite of the Bitcoin ethos. And what I mean by that is, me as a consultant, I was paid by the firm to do work on behalf of the client, aka bill out the client hours for work I was doing. So I wasn't incentivized to do speed at all. As a matter of fact, I would do things twice It was mainly Excel work, to be honest, but I would do things like 2-3 times when only one time was really necessary, just because my main goal was to bill hours to the client, which result in more revenue for the firm, which may not be the best for the client. And when you incorporate the fact that this was a bankruptcy consulting firm, meaning in a bankruptcy, there are levels of creditors, meaning like 4 levels of creditors. Top level gets paid first, second level gets paid second, third level and fourth level, vice versa. And I'm guessing any of your listeners would understand where the normal mom and pop and everyday people land on that scale of receiving payments. And I'll give you a hint, it's either first or last, and it's not first. So really researching Bitcoin, notice how that drives anti-rent-seeking behavior while being a rent seeker. Didn't really align. So at that point, I was still working at the consultancy firm. I was very fortunate in the sense I was just building out, I was doing fine work, so no one really gave me any questions. So I was able to listen to like 6-7 hours of podcast a day while like in the background while doing work. So that's where I really just learned about Bitcoin, just because it was on my mind 24/7, 8 days a week. I quit that job after my bonus. And at that point, it was 2016. I knew cryptocurrency, it wasn't called Web3 yet, was a space I wanted to be in. So I started going to cryptocurrency meetups in my local area near like Long Beach, Irvine, Los Angeles. I met the original ShopX team at an event hosted by Crypto Wendy O. She's doing extremely well influencer-wise. So if you're new to crypto, I think she might be like the largest female influencer in crypto or something along those lines. So shout out Wendy O, check her out. Got to support her channel. So I met the original ShopX team at one of the events. We got along very well. We spun off and started a SaaS platform called CartRev Pollenly. So if you see what TikTok shops are doing right now, creating a shop where any of their users could purchase a product directly from within the app, we created that for Instagram, and that replaced affiliate codes. So any Shopify brand could upload a product, add a discount, add a commission, and then any of its users, like me or you, could see all the brands, all their products, and add all products to a singular link. So if Neil, you like this Nike hat, Reebok shoe, Adidas sweater, you could put them in one link. I, as your friend, can then purchase the products from your link. You get a commission, I get a discount. Brand gets a sale, everyone's happy. So at that peak, we had over 100 brands using our platform. And it was a great learning experience. Like our secret sauce was keeping it within the app. So within the app, like within Instagram, someone can make that purchase without leaving the app in less than 4 clicks. So that's why that was successful. And that's why it wasn't successful, because Instagram didn't like that. We were taking money from them. So that I think that was part of the reason that didn't do as well as it should have. But again, the universe works itself out, and a lot of those lessons, like how to deal with e-commerce brands, like staying within apps, so really transfer to ShopX. Like for example, ShopX completely plays within the Shopify rules because we're a bridge from Web 2 to Web 3. And when you think of ShopX, I want you to think of the Google or Apple of Web 3. Long term, we're going to be a suite of solutions for an e-commerce brand. Right now, it's Shopify or WooCommerce, where you can download an app and then interact with Web 3 in a voluntary setting for you and your customers and earn Web 3 benefits. Right now, we have 2 products live. The first is ReserveX, and that's a NFT-powered loyalty program. So if you're a brand, you're on Shopify, you're on WooCommerce, you can download our app, get the appropriate amount of tokenized software licenses. That's actually a ShopX and I think a world first, where tokens function as tokenized software licenses, and they can be bought and sold on any authorized reseller. So if you're a brand, you have those 2 requirements set directly from within your Shopify app in 2 simple forms. So you just fill out 2 forms, like a name, a image, a price, a description for your NFT pass. And then from there, you can create an NFT collection with e-commerce benefits for your customers. So if you're a brand, rather than spend $20K on Web3 dev work, hire an artist, do all that jazz, within less than 5 minutes by filling out a form, it's so easy during QA. My grandma was able to do that. You can launch as many NFT collections as you want, and then continuously add e-commerce benefits in the form of token gating to that NFT. So for example, if Nike launched a gold, silver, bronze style pass, I, as a gold holder, could get exclusive access like autographed merch or early merch or something along those lines, which really drives customer loyalty. On the customer side, we understand that if we want Web3 mass adoption, right now there's two things missing. There's no real reason for a average person to interact with Web3. And it's also very complicated and it's not easy. Like my grandma won't be able to just download and buy an NFT at will. So I think ShopX helps with the incentive portion, meaning people have a reason to actually interact with Web3. In our flagship case study, over 50% of the users who wanted this particular hat were 100% new to crypto. So they wanted the hat, they're like, we'll figure it out. And the second reason people don't interact with Web3 is general user interface. So at ShopX, it's our goal to keep it as simple as possible for the brand's customers. So ShopX is B2B to C, meaning we work with brands, but the brands also work with their customers. We could sign all the brands in the world, but if they present this service to their customer and they don't want it, it's dead on arrival. So in that respect, we've integrated with Crossmint. So customers can pay for their NFT with credit card. What's happening on the back end is the customer is technically taken to a URL, just like anything else. Click here to buy your NFT, or we use the word pass just because of general market sentiment. And you can either purchase in MetaMask, Ethereum, or Coinbase Wallet or Trust Wallet, or you can do Crossmint. What's happening with Crossmint is you're technically buying Ethereum with credit card and sending that to the brand, but you don't see that. You see this pay credit card, you see the Ethereum price, you pay the credit card, you get your NFT, everyone's happy. So that's our first product, and I'm sure we can go over this in more detail with like case studies. We have one enterprise client. I would say Fox is our biggest one. New show, Kapopolis. It's creators of Rick and Morty. So if you're a fan of that show, it's pretty funny. We have a couple mid-sized clients, as well as my personal favorite are our startup clients, because I like the idea that ShopX empowers the long tail of smaller Shopify brands to download, create an NFT collection, and mess around with the technology. So we have all those case studies for ReserveX. Our second product live right now is SquadX, and that's our ambassador program that ties in beautifully with ReserveX. So it's the first ever ambassador program that pays our ambassadors in Ethereum on chain. And this is important because it's from what we learned from the other startup, Carver Polonly, the affiliate system right now is a mess, meaning if you're an affiliate for a brand, and we've tested this multiple times by like checking out the other competitors, like I'd be an affiliate for the program, my friend would purchase a product from me, the sale will get misattributed to someone else, it just wouldn't log. So on the affiliate side, that's a mess. And ShopX helps solve that by creating the ambassador program on chain with SquadX. So we actually pay. So think of like Twitter creators where they pay their creators from their ad revenue. ShopX actually pays our ambassadors from ReserveX business. The way that whole flow, and the theory behind that is it creates an upward spiral for us both. ShopX gets more business, ReserveX members or SquadX gets paid more, they get happy, they post more, create more social media buzz, thus driving more business, and everyone wins. As a brand using ReserveX, when you launch your pass, it's completely customizable for you. So you have the option to decide where the money ends up when someone purchases your pass. So if it's you control as a brand 95%. This is important if you're working with like an agency or an influencer. Like let's say Nike's working LeBron, they can program a 50-50 split. So both parties are incentivized to properly sell the pass. ShopX earns 5% of the brand sale. So if a brand mints one NFT for $100, they get 95. ShopX earns 5%. We keep 2.5%, so half of our revenue, and then we share the other half, so another 2.5 with our SquadX members. So that's where their payment comes in. In terms of our pricing model, if you want to use a plug and play solution, it's completely free. You just need to get the licenses, and we earn our 5% just because it's a new technology. We don't really want to charge an upfront fee for something that people may just be testing around. In terms of licenses, yes, you do have to acquire them, but they're also your licenses. So if you wanted to sell them on the secondary market at an authorized reseller, totally within your power. It's just like any other token or software license in that sense. Yeah. That's a quick, long-winded explanation of two products. Do you have any questions or anything I can go into more detail?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like what you're doing and achieving here is kind of almost the missing piece of the jigsaw for me with Web3 as it's kind of evolved to this point is this level of complexity for a business owner, like you say, startup. This potentially could be really attractive too. But if I think about, predominant audience here listening to this are kind of marketers at a variety of different levels. So if I'm a marketer at senior level, and I'm looking at this whole Web3 thing at the moment. Prior to ShopX, it is this huge wall of complexity. It's multi-platform. I probably would struggle to see how it would link with an existing B2B and or B2C or B2B2C, as you've described it, relationship, because there's just almost too many threads, too many opportunities to try and kind of almost lose my way. Whereas actually what you seem to be doing here is creating something that is almost like this transparent layer that sits above an existing customer journey or client journey, if it's the pure B2B end. And it kind of takes away all the complexity, because it seems like almost like a seamless flow of activity, which I can, sort of leverage in terms of revenue, because there's money to be made almost at every step here if I'm really smart and work this out. And it kind of takes account of existing process, because I'm finding that when I talk to people about Web3, it's almost like, oh yeah, but it's going to be a bolt-on. I'm going to have to kind of figure out a whole new business model. I need something that kind of integrates with what I've already got. And kind of prior to ShopX, I've certainly not heard of anything that would almost seamlessly dovetail in with existing processes and systems and ways of thinking and strategies. Is that kind of part of this? I mean, it feels that it's very kind of user friendly from our, as communicators or marketers perspective.
Yeah, man, you hit the nail on the head. We think of ShopX as like a Web 2.5 company, meaning we're a bridge for Web 2 to Web 3 brands. And something we really, really, really tried to work into the design of our product is we don't want to mess with any existing flows because we understand it's a new technology, and let alone with even if you have a Web 2 SaaS platform, aka Carbon Poly, introducing something new, it just adds another barrier to entry. Where ShopX are like, no, we work existing within your platforms. Like, so for example, with Shopify with the WooCommerce, all we do is we simply token gate the checkout. So if I have an NFT, you have let's say you need the NFT to purchase this hat. I have the NFT. You click the product. It's on the normal website. You see a wall comes up saying, hey, you need this NFT to purchase the product. Here's a link to purchase this NFT to purchase the product. There may be other benefits. But since I have the NFT and it's completely within their website, I sign a transaction. It proves that NFT. Then I go to the brand's checkout as usual. So any marketing email flows that normally fire off, we don't mess with that at all. Any payment systems that they already have, we don't mess with it at all. We really just want to work alongside with the brands, alongside with the marketers, to test out this new technology for the customers. And at ShopX, we believe or at least I personally believe in power versus force. Force is like, you could force me to do something, I could force you to do something, but it's not sustainable, because at some point, one party is losing. They're like, enough of this nonsense, I'm out. But ShopX is a powerful company in the sense that everyone wins. So in our B2B2C model, ShopX wins because my personal goal is to help. I want to live a nice, peaceful life. I can't do that if I view the money system as corrupt. I view Bitcoin as the answer. Do your own research. And ShopX is a way for me to onboard people into Web3 at scale. So that creates a 0 to 1 moment for a lot of people. So ShopX wins when we onboard a major brand like Fox or like Nike, just because we help push that narrative forward. We also earn revenue. So ShopX earns revenue. And when ShopX earns revenue, our community members, they earn revenue too. And a cool thing about that is it creates a bunch of UGC for the brands. Like, for example, when we have a brand drop, like an NFT drop, the community members know it's happening because they're getting paid. So they're obviously happy about that. And then they end up creating tons of UGC for the brand, which the brand can then repurpose for its own purposes. So that's how ShopX wins. The brand wins because the brand, it earns revenue. And if you are able to properly, and we've seen this through cases, if you're able to properly integrate NFT Web3s into your customer acquisition and marketing strategy, you gain plenty of benefits. Like, our conversion rate for when a customer purchases the NFT to the product that's linked to the NFT is over 80%, because if you're a customer, you already bought into the NFT, you have some ownership in the company, you feel like you have ownership in the company, you're going to purchase that product most of the time. So 80% compared to the average 2. The lifetime value of the customer highly increases, again, going back to the ownership aspect, because you feel like you have ownership in the NFT. You're going to keep coming back to your website. So we've seen that multiply like 4 or 5 times. Like it's not just a one and done thing where it's like you buy a product, you're out. No, you buy the product, you're in with the brand, you keep buying the product. And if anyone listening understands general customer acquisition strategy, it's not about getting the first customer, because most brands actually lose money on the first customer purchase, like it's customer acquisition cost. The name of the game is getting that repeat customer. So NFTs really drive that. So brands are happy, they get plenty of benefits, they earn revenue on the spot. It's no risk for them, meaning like it's a free platform. You download the app, you try it works great. It doesn't work, okay, you can quit, you can try another strategy, because again, you can do different benefits for each pass. Like you can continuously add benefits, like you can add new products to this pass whenever you want, or you can do like a one and done type thing where it's like this particular pass redeems this product once. So if you have a limited drop, you have like 500 products, you can do something like that. Customers win because they feel like they have ownership in the brand. They get the e-commerce benefits that they were promised. And the cool thing that I really like is, let's say hypothetically you're a small brand, you launch a pass for your very loyal customers, like your really early stages. So you know that these are your early supporters. 10, 20 years down the line, you've blown up. And if you think about what an NFT is, all it is it's a connection between a creator and a creator, in this case brand, and a consumer, in this case customer. So now that the brand has that relationship with the customer, they're their homies for life, meaning like the brand blows up 20 years later, like it's like becomes like the Lululemon of whatever. You can continuously add airdrops or give e-commerce benefits to your original passwords, like thank you so much for being an early supporter. And if the brand does blow up, the passes, NFT passes, of course, they're just a normal NFT. So the customers, it's their NFT. The brand can't stop them from selling them. So they can choose to sell them or pass them down for a profit. So they win in that sense. So they could theoretically, if the brand does blow up, their pass could be worth much more monetarily. And on the brand side, since these are NFTs, they can program in royalties, because in the end, I believe creators should be paid as well. So if you're a brand, you can program loyalties on the secondary markets. Anytime someone sells your NFT, or we've been calling them pass because of just this whole market's been a buzzkill for the past 4 years, which has been great for developing in terms of like it's quieter, gas is cheaper. But in terms of like marketing the Web2 brands, the word NFT had a negative connotation. It's switching, so we use the word pass just to make it more digestible. But yeah, the customer could help share in the brand's success, which is pretty happy. And from the customer side, they honestly love it too. It's like, because they feel like the ethos behind Web3 is ownership, and they feel like they're part of the brand. And if you want, I can just give you a quick rundown of the differences of the web, if that's helpful for your listeners, or if they already got it, I can just skip over it.
No, I would say they probably haven't already got it, and I think that would be a really useful sort of like mini tutorial really for everybody, because to me, the way that you're describing this, and this is for me getting really interesting and quite exciting, because I've been around long enough to know pre-internet days, certainly pre-Web 2 days, but when we transitioned from Web 1 to Web 2, so into social basically, one of the big changes there was this whole idea of being social, but it wasn't really. It was one-to-one. It wasn't actually one-to-many, and it wasn't really a community thing. What I'm loving about your definition here, Eric, of kind of this Web 2.5, and I think that's a real thing I want to highlight to everybody. This is interesting. Web 3 is potentially a bit daunting, but Web 2.5 could be, as a mindset, your transition route in here, with something like ShopX. But to me, it's really interesting because it's putting community and interaction at the core of everything, isn't it, really? Because it isn't just a single kind of connection with a brand here. You've got connection with influencers, with community, with the brand, but also kind of with almost like a little mini ecosystem. And that to me is a real game changer, because the power then, like you say, is with all stakeholders. Everybody's got a vested interest in this thing working. And that fueling of the power of a brand, but with the energy behind everyone backing up and, backing on its success, is so much more powerful than, as I say, that transition when we went from Web 1 into social, because it was quite limited, really. We didn't realize it at the time, but now with Web 2.5, it is so different. So yeah, I think just what you're describing here is, for any marketer who's willing to kind of almost, listen to this little tutorial that you're going to give us now, I think this is time to really wake up. This is super, super exciting for anybody who's looking to get, I guess you could kind of describe it as, the customer lifetime value goes for as long as you want it in this world. It's so different, so different. Can you kind of sort of build on that?
Yeah, so of course. And the way I view Web 1, Web 2 versus Web 3 is Web 1 is read only, meaning there's content on the internet, either of us could read it. Web 2, like you mentioned, social. So I view that as a read and write, meaning either of us could read content, either of us could create our own content. So think YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that jazz. The only issue with that is that neither of us own the content, meaning Instagram is one that makes the money. They can cancel us really whenever they want. Web 3 is read, write, and own. Own being the key word. So we can read content, we can write content, but we can also own the content. And that ownership aspect is incredibly valuable because I think we know as humans, we really care much more about stuff we own. So in the ShopX example for a brand, I like to think of it as like a timeshare in Hawaii. So let's say hypothetically, I have a timeshare in Hawaii. You're coming to Hawaii next month. I would be like, okay, dude, you're staying in my timeshare. It's the best timeshare in the world. You're staying here. And I'll be much more pushy about that. Whereas if I don't have a timeshare, it's like, okay, just stay wherever you want. I don't particularly care because it's not my timeshare. So in the Web 2.5 world, brands are successfully able to create the NFT pass, which really does builds a community of brand like evangelists, whatever that word is. I mean, like once they have the NFT, they go hard on the referrals. They go hard on the UGC because again, it's their brand. They're repping it. Like we've seen this with like brands in the past. Like for example, Mickey. He's our mid-sized company example. He runs a hatware store in LA. It's very cool. He's a good guy. I mean, like his customers are like teenagers or older. They come to the store. There's like a hoop in the middle of like the shoe section. They play basketball. He has like barbecues and he has a real relationship with his customers. That's why he's so successful. His big issue was when he would release a new product line, bots would come in, sweep his inventory within less than a second, and then resell the product for like 10 times the profit. Of course, this results in his loyal customers, his loyal fan base, the people like his friends, not being able to get the custom hat. So imagine you're like a 16-year-old kid, you're waiting for Christmas. You really want this hat. You're excited. You wait like till like the second of the drop trying to get the hat, and then bots buy it. And it's like, okay, this guy sucks. So he created a gold, silver, bronze style pass for his community. And this completely solved the bonding issue. So now since his gold members get token gate access prior to everyone else, they get exclusive access. So that bonding issue is a thing in the past. So now he knows exactly who's getting his product. And more importantly, he also knows who his close community members are. Because if in any like affiliate or referral program, 80% of the community does or 20% of the community does 80% of the work. So now he's identified his go-to group. In his Discord channel he created, there's specific sections for members. So like the gold members have a token gated section, meaning to gain access to this particular space, you have to have the NFT. For the pink mocha holders, that's the gold standard. And within the community, it's lively. Like they're talking about purchases, they're talking about what's coming up next. They're sharing memes, they're sharing content that they created for their brand. It's a good time for everyone. So this really just drives home the fact that this really helps create a community. It like anchors community around one purpose for that brand, and everyone wins. So everyone's happy. Like it really is a fun experience for them. So like, sweet. And I don't think that they're ever going to shop at somewhere else, but who knows? It's up to them.
And that's the key here, isn't it? Really, is this kind of this is loyalty with a big uppercase L, because we've played with loyalty for decades and tried to kind of convince ourselves as business owners and marketers that actually our customers are really loyal, and then we go and check the analytics and realize actually we're kidding ourselves. It really isn't. That's really not the case. And I think in a lot of marketplaces, there is this kind of fickle nature of a customer, and I get it because I shop around. I think we all do. And if you can get a better deal and you haven't been getting huge amounts of value from existing providers for a particular sort of product or service, then you don't feel kind of, I guess, emotionally or intellectually kind of bought into the brand. But this takes things to a whole new level because you're part of it. You actually own part of it. You're actually part of that community, and every little piece that you either own or publish or share, you're kind of getting more and more deeply bought into this whole thing. And it's, like you say, it's almost impossible then to kind of figure yourself going somewhere else. I mean, do you see it pretty much all of the big brands? I mean, obviously you've talked about Nike, for example, there, but I can imagine, the likes of Apple and, some of the biggest brands in the world kind of taking this route in Web 2.5/3, because, you are locking people in for all the right reasons, and that is value. And that is really what we're after here, is this almost this golden chalice of, I can lock you in because you get value, we get value. Everybody wins for once, and we've never really had this before. Are there any kind of sectors or types of product or service where this wouldn't work, do you feel?
No, theoretically, I think this could, obviously there are some sections that are more tailored to Web3, like for example, hyperware products with bot issues and extremely loyal fan base. Like a loyal fan base, I would say, is the biggest key metric right now for a Web2 brand to successfully enter Web3. But that being said, in the future, anyone could win. It's really just an additional stream of revenue for an e-commerce brand. I mean, like right now you can do token gated. NFT holders could get specific access to products, but we're building out price gating, meaning like it could function as a discount pass. You could get access to in real life events. So if you have customers, this really does work for you. And one of my favorite things about ShopX in particular is we're simply a technology platform that allows brands to enter the Web3 space. How they use the technology is completely up to them, meaning I can't tell a brand, I can tell them what I think they should do. I can tell them what other brands have done in the past to be successful. But in the end, the brand is going to do a better job of adapting to this technology because they better understand their needs than I could ever. So they'll find ways to make, because they are incentivized to find ways to make this technology as successful as possible. And in Web3, one of my favorite aspects about Web3 is composable, meaning everyone builds off each other. Like someone solves a problem, code's mostly, if you don't know, code is mostly copy and pasted. But yeah, someone solves a problem once and then another company can build off of that. So this applies to the ShopX brand ethos. So for example, if a brand finds a creative, successful way to integrate their NFT pass for their fans, other brands can kind of use that method, try it, see if it works for their customers. If it does, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's really just one big learning experiment, because where we're at with Web3, like obviously I view Web3 as the future. In the end, for Web3 to be successful, it has to be being used in the background without anyone knowing how to do it. Like my grandma said, just take out her phone, like tap, tap, tap. Her NFT picks up. She gets access to her products. Her card or her stablecoin, whatever, is already linked. She gets paid. She pays with 3 taps, and she gets the product. She's happy. There'll be plenty of technical stuff going in the background, but she does not care, nor does she need to care. So for Web3 to win, that has to be the case. And where we're at right now is we're at the beginning stages of the educational curve. So right now with companies like ShopX, and there are others like MoonPay who give actual reason to interact with Web3. The big brands we've seen are slowly onboarding, like they're dipping their toes, like the Nikes, the like Hermes's, and all the major brands are dipping their toes. So they have Web3 teams. They're coming with strategies. If we work with an enterprise brand, I'm sure they take forever. Like ShopX is talking with KPMG and Deloitte about potential integration partners at the enterprise level, but something like that will take forever. So the big brands are dipping their toes, and I've seen this in personal conversations where they are internally excited, like, oh, this technology is great. We do think it's the future, but because of the overall crypto market right now and like NFT sentiment, like after FTX and all that stuff, it's just slightly negative. Like the normal person, like NFT, what's that? I don't want to do anything to do with that. We've actually seen that. I think failures are more important than successes because it's a learning experience. Like we signed a company called Impact Wrestling. If you know wrestling, they're like the WWE type of thing. They have a crazy fan base. We had everything set. The way they were going to do their passes, it was a link to each wrestler. So this can be copied for any artist. You buy the wrestler pass, you get like autographed merch, and you can get a live one, like a token gated meeting, like video call like this with the wrestler as a way to, like, it's a connection between the wrestler and the fan. So that was the theory behind that. You get like early access to products and stuff, like giveaways at the wrestling events. So we had that all set up. We had the design for the pass. They're already fully integrated into the system. They had the past designs, and then on their first PR release, they released it on Instagram, and then the company itself got ratio, meaning NFTs. We don't want that. So that just shows that where the customer sentiment was in the market. So big brands are very interested, they're excited, but everyone's just kind of waiting for the customer sentiment to turn around. Because like I mentioned earlier, you could saw all the brands, we could sign all the brands in the world, but in the end, the customer is king. The customer is most important. They're the one voluntarily choosing the service. So if they don't want it, they don't want it. And that'll switch once they see the benefits, once they see that NFTs are more than just like something for hype. They're more than like a scam. They're more than like a $500,000 monkey. As a matter of fact, we've differentiated the term ENFTs and NFTs just because we've come across this a lot, where NFT is like a non-fungible token. It's what you think of when you think of the normal crypto space. A ENFT is an e-commerce based NFT. So the value of an e-commerce based NFT is like, think of ShopX, where it's like, yes, it could potentially go up in price, but most people are just buying it because they want the immediate e-commerce utility that comes with the pass, versus maybe it'll go up in the future.
Yeah, and I think there's a real kind of moment there. I think just again the way you described that, because and I would reflect that in a lot of the resistance and hesitation that I've seen, when I've talked to people about this whole kind of world, is this kind of like, oh yeah, but there's a risk associated with this, and we don't really have the extra resources required to even investigate this, so we're kind of aware it's on our radar, but we'll come to it in the future. Whereas actually what you're doing here is I think what you're saying is that, okay, it is about the long-term benefit here and the long-term value, but actually because of this kind of whole pass ethos, is you are now getting access literally from the minute you part with your credit card details to get into this NFT space, which is so much more accessible anyway. You're going to get value from the get-go. I mean, it's not that you're having to wait for a certain period of time. The value comes almost instantly, and then there's value that's built on top of that into the future. That feels a lot more tangible, I think, for a consumer, if we call them that. So the brand gets it and understands it, but from the consumer or customer's perspective, they see value at all stages in their relationship. And I think that's really got to happen, hasn't it? Because if it's playing the waiting game and you'll see value because it's like an investment, that's not going to happen, is it? Because nobody's got the patience for that.
Oh yeah, and I don't think anyone should enter the crypto space as an investment vehicle, but I think the key word here is value. In Web 2, it's a singular stream of value, meaning that the value goes from one way, and this is why Web 2 loyalty programs failed, where the value goes from one way. It goes one way. It's unilateral. So it goes from the customer to the brand. The customer gives them money. That's pretty much it. In Web 3, it's a bilateral stream of value, meaning the value flows freely between consumer and creator, and with no like third party just kind of siphoning off that value. So yeah, it creates if you think of everything as energy, which I do, it just unlocks the energy of value between creator and consumer. And with that energy being unlocked, it's not being siphoned off by any third party or just that product or service. That results in more creativity from both the brand and the consumer, aka the brand can tap his consumer base for better products, better feedback, because they're involved in the process. Don't get me wrong. Like in the Mickey Discord, they're like one of the perks is they get to help like design a hat. One of our clients, like Krapopolis, it's a Fox TV show. They launched an NFT collection called the Crab Chickens. I got to shout them out, look them out. I personally own a crab chicken. It's funny. So as a crab chicken holder, I will get access to merch. But more importantly, I get to vote on aspects of the show, because it's like, I'm like, okay, I'm a crab chicken. Let's see what happens. Maybe my crab chicken will show up in the show. And personally, I don't watch TV. I just don't watch TV. It's not something I do. But I watch Krapopolis because I'm like, hey, it's my crab chicken. And I've told so many people about Krapopolis. And one of my favorite aspect about the Mickey example is it really helped his customers. Like the 6-year-old kid who loves a hat, he's in LA, he gets his hat, amazing. Kerpopolis, my favorite thing about their particular use case was they're fun to work with. Like Fox is great. They work with a company called Blockchain Creative Labs. They're truly innovative in this space, so it made everything easy. But they were able to launch the NFT collection prior to the release of the show. So prior to the release of the show, they've already made millions. They already have a loyal fan base, like a loyal group of OGs. And then if you've ever been in e-commerce and starting your brand, the hardest part is getting your first customers. Like, it's like, how do I get my first customers and how to keep them loyal? That's like the hardest thing. It's like a 0 to 1 thing. But imagine you're opening like an e-commerce store and you already had 500 people who will purchase the product because of high conversion rates. Like, for example, like we've had brands launch NFT passes so they know how much product to make, because if they know they sell for 500 NFT passes with a product linked to it, those NFT pass holders are probably going to purchase the product because they purchase NFT for the product. So it's a great way to test how much product you have to make. So you don't have to like guess and check that. But yeah, Fox did a great job. They built a community prior to the release of the show. The community's happy. They post about it. Again, it's their crap chickens. Like in both use cases, Mickey and Magpark, they've changed. People have changed their PFPs on Twitter to their NFT because it's a thing they do in NFT. So when we do like spaces, we do stuff like that, we'll see the crap chicken holders and they kind of like just sit together, like form like crap chickens, and everyone's like, "What's that?" And then they will start talking about it for days. Like they're like, "Oh, this is why you should do it. This is what it is." And then because I can hype up ShopX as much as I want, a brand could hype up their brand as much as they want. Fox could hype up Kerpopolis as much as I want, but that's not nearly as valuable as like an actual customer hyping up the brand, because it's organic, it's authentic. And not to go off too on a tangent, but that's what I feel lacks, and that's why I feel like normal Facebook and Google and Instagram ad spend really isn't. It's probably necessary, but it's not as effective as it used to be, just because everyone's so bombarded with content. It's like, open your social media app, it's all buy this, buy that, here's some bad influence, blah blah blah. Whereas with a ShopX organically created UGC, like, customers put their heart and soul into they put their heart into the content, which really resonates well, because you can tell when someone's half-assing something, but you can tell when someone actually really gives a shit. And if someone gives a shit, like, especially if it's like a customer from around, like, okay, they give a shit, and maybe I should give a shit. Let me look into this. Let me see what it's all about. So if you want to see that, I would, again, don't take my word for it. In crypto and Web3, always do your own research. Don't trust me. Verify it for yourself. So if you want to check out some content that our ambassadors created, just search on Twitter $ShopX, and you can see people make memes, people interact in the comments. Like, I'll get tagged daily and stuff saying, "Hey, check out this brand." Hence the upward cycle of ETH getting paid to our ambassadors. I'm like, "Hey, check this out." Then they would start pitching the brand on ShopX for me. So that's replicatable, and it is being replicated by brands using ShopX to get their NFT holders. They have the NFT, and no one's asking them to do this. Keep in mind, they're just doing it because they want to. So yeah, they're in comments. So it creates and I know marketing KPIs are extremely important. In all business, KPIs are extremely important. Like, you have to have your KPIs, like impressions, how many people ended at the end course of your funnel. Again, all super important. But it's not an issue. It's just, it is what it is. My main thing where KPIs don't paint the whole picture is they don't deal with the second, third order effects, because you can't really measure that. Where ShopX, I view it as an immeasurable impact, because we get those second, third order effects. Like, for example, someone purchases a brand's ENFT pass. You don't track how many people they tell face to face about the pass. Like in the Twitter spaces, like someone's talking about crap chicken, like, you're not keeping track of them pitching your product organically to like 500 people. And then you're not keeping track of how many of those people follow through and actually get the product. So it moves stuff along in the background, which from a KPI standpoint, no bueno, but from a building a community, actually getting sales, super bueno.
Yeah, it really is. And I think that is talking the language of, a lot of people who want to kind of come into this world and start to experiment and explore. And I think it's, great advice, Eric. Thank you for the the comment about go and do your research, because I think, all of us, we need to be making conscious decisions, for ourselves, but also, for the brands and the businesses that we represent. So I think, that's really good advice. So I'm going to put a link to the in the description to that tag for people to go and have a look at the conversations there. But if we want to point people to ShopX, where can they go? What should they be searching up to take that first next step on 2.5 or 3, should they wish to go that far? Well, what's the URL? Where can we point them?
So the best place to learn more about ShopX would be our website. It's shopx.co, so shop.co. From there, I would check out the Twitter account. So our Twitter and Instagram are at ShopX Labs. And then within the Twitter account, within the bio, if you're really interested in getting involved, I would check out our Discord and just actually ask our community what you think of the project. They're fantastic in the sense they will say something they don't like, but they'll also say something they'll like. They're honest, which I think is important. So yeah, check out our website. You can always reach out to me, Eric, ERIC, at shopx.co. Like I mentioned earlier, I personally do enjoy onboarding people into Web3. So if you have any questions about ShopX or just Web3 in general questions, I'm here to help. So I'm happy to help in any way I possibly can. If I don't know the answer, or maybe you want some referral within the Web3 space or want a brand referral, I'm happy to help. My goal is to be as helpful as possible to as many people as possible in whatever capacity as possible. So just give me a reach out and then we can take things from there.
Gosh, the world needs somebody like you, Eric, living and breathing this world and transitioning people through from the old model into the new. And I think I just keep hearing, kind of resonating in my head, just this word value. That's all I'm hearing really from this conversation. That's something that's so missing, for so many marketers and so many brands, is that real true value with an uppercase V, because I think there's the potential for finding that, getting it and sharing it in this new world.
The thing about Web3 value is we can increase the size of value for everyone. So instead of increasing the size of our piece of the pie, why not just increase the whole pie itself? Versus in Web2, the name of the game is taking from competitors, selling their data and just increasing the pie for yourself. But in Web3, it's like, let's just create as much value as we can. And since it's properly allocated now between the customer and the creator, it's just, again, upward spiral of value. The value stream is free, and now it can flow and grow.
So helpful. Thank you, Eric, for helping us all understand this evolving new space that I think a lot of us are now going to start to really properly investigate and research. So thanks very much for your time today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I honestly had a blast. You're fantastic, Neil.
Oh, you're too kind. Have a great day, Eric.
You too.